Deep in the ocean, an orca pod is on the hunt. But these aren't your average orcas. These guys are organized.
Marketing team, did you get those social media posts scheduled for the SEAL migration?
Aye, Captain. We even have an automated notification for all pod managers when they go live.
They use Monday.com to keep their teamwork sharp, their communication clear, and their goals in sight. Monday.com. For whatever you run, even orcas. Go to Monday.com to dive deeper.
Regen auf mein Kopf. Hinter via Deckelbus ist die kleine Fahrt im Top. Geht mir kein Sach mit, die Tropfen.
Hey everyone, welcome to Kill Me Now with Judy Gold. I am your host, the lovely Judy Gold, and this week we have the wonderful, hilarious Brian Posehn on. And we do talk a little bit about why we have never been cast as husband and wife, but he's a delight. And it's been quite a week. I want you to know that I was in Washington, D.C. this past weekend. This Saturday, February 4, I am going to be in Avenel, New Jersey, which is at the Avenel Performing Arts Center, which is in Woodbridge. They say it's in Woodbridge, which is literally where I hung out when I was in high school at the Woodbridge Mall. Okay? So I will be going back to my, I guess, adolescence and high school fun time area. I'm so excited. No, it should be a fun show. And John Fish, who I love is opening for me. It's going to be a fucking fantastic show. And there's not that many seats left, so get your fucking tickets for the Avenel Performing Arts Center on February 4th at 8 o'clock. Okay, so that's that. I have to tell you before we start the episode that I was in Washington and I'm working at the Comedy Loft, which is great. The audiences are great. Everyone's great. The room looks like a haunted house to me, but whatever. And I have a new bit about guns in my act. And so I always ask people who has a gun, because, it's foreign to me, but I know a lot of people who own guns. And so there was a guy in the front and he said, he raises his hand. I said, how many do you have? Because a lot of people, when I ask how many guns they have, they're like, 10, 24. My grandfather left me one, and then some people have one or whatever. So he had 3. I said, okay, why do you have 3? He's like, And so I said, what are they? And he said, a pistol. And then he named another one, which I don't know what, an M11, 19, 46, 85, whatever. And I said, and what's the third one? And he said, an AR-15. And the audience was like, ooh. And I was like, why do you have an AR-15? Like, that's the one I don't understand. And he's like, 'cause I can. And then I'm like, oh my God. And the audience is like freaking out. And I figured I'd get it while I still am able to. And I'm like, okay, all right. So that's fine. And then he's with his wife, and then they have a friend with them. And so I said, do you keep it locked up? No. And the wife's like, we don't have any kids. I'm like, oh, okay, that's fine. So, enjoy the next argument you get into. And then the friend they were with was completely freaking out. And I said, well, your friend is freaking out right now. And he's probably like, oh my God, we had that fight last week about who was paying the check, shit, And I was freaking out that, I'm going to buy an assault rifle, not lock it up, just have it there because I can. Can someone write to me and explain this? I'm speechless. But other than that, the scary part of that, the audiences were fucking great. They were so smart. A lot of people, work for the government because you're in D.C. And I went to Firestone Bakery, which was so good. And I got this egg and cheese croissant that was so good. And then the day before, I got a little mini quiche. So good. Food was really good. They have good food. They have good restaurants in D.C. Anyway, So that was that. And I got to see my family, which, always brings me back to when I'm 7 years old and hate everyone. So all together, a fantastic, fantastic week. Yeah. So that's it. So I just wanted to share that with you because working in comedy clubs is, it's interesting. It's just, I love the work. I love doing the shows. But then, when I do crowd work and I ask these questions, I'm always surprised. You know what I'm saying? And then, my trainer just called me and he's like, I just want you to know, he has a house in Pennsylvania. I was walking the dog and I bumped into this guy who was also walking his dog. And, we're like acquaintances. And he said, you know what? My son, I think it was his son or his friend's son, met one of your clients. And he's like, oh, yeah, which one? And he said, Judy Gold. And I said, oh, yeah, where did you see her? At a comedy club. He's 22, but he loves comics from that era. Okay, I want to fucking kill myself. That era. Okay, I'm old. It's so fucking weird. And I'm still doing the same shit I was doing 30, 40 years ago. So there you go. I love what I do, but I'm from another era. Okay? So kill me now. That's all I have to say. Okay, so that's that. I'm really excited for this episode. I had so much fun talking to him. I think you're going to love it. I really do. I really think you're going to love it. So sit back, relax, and enjoy part 1 of my interview with the one and only Brian Posehn. All right, everyone. Welcome. I'm very excited about today's guest because we have so much in common. It's a phenomenon. First of all, not in our careers, because, he's a white male, but in life. And you have to get his book, his autobiography, would you call it an autobiography, Brian?
Yeah. Sure.
Well, you did say it's a bunch of stories, but yes, it is autobiographical. It is fucking phenomenal. I love it. And it's such, it was like listening to myself. I just want to read this. Okay, ready? These are some of the shows Brian Posehn has appeared on. Friends, Seinfeld, Just Shoot Me, Everybody Loves Raymond, The Simpsons, Sarah Silverman Program, Bert Kibler in Big Bang Theory, The Show of Shows, Comedians of Comedy, The Show of Shows, writer, sketch performer, Mr. Show, I just, movie writer, like it's a good thing you were an outcast. Is that all? I mean, like your body of work is like your body. It's fucking amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so excited to have Brian Posehn on. He is fucking awesome. So, Brian, welcome to Kill Me Now with Judy Gold.
Thanks.
By the way. I'm Judy Gold. I don't know if you...
Yes, I've always felt like you and I, if we were on the same coast, we would have been way closer. I've always thought you were hilarious. And when we've been in the same room, we've always when we did Tough Crowd, I feel like we both went, oh shit, tall person, and gravitated towards each other.
How are we not a married couple on a fucking television show, or brother and sister? But yeah,
seriously, casting in the 90s and 2000s blew it for never casting us together. I don't know why.
Brian, I don't even know where to start. I like to do a deep dive, and thank God for your nerd book, because I listened to it because I like to hear the author, especially on autobiographies. I like to hear the author telling a story. Mm-hmm. Without the constant death, we are so similar in growing up. But let's start at the beginning. Your family. Okay, your mom, Carol.
Uh-huh.
Born in 1939. Your father, Bob, born in 1942. I just love this. So Carol was 6 feet tall and a beauty.
Mm-hmm.
Bob was also really tall, and they met at a tall club.
Yes. It was a big part of my life growing up. The Golden Gate Tip Toppers.
The which was like a high end, high end tall club. Here's the thing.
It was started by a single woman in San Francisco in, I think, the 40s or 50s. And she was a tall lady who was looking for tall men and started the club on her own. And then my mom joined in the 60s, and that's where they met. But it's still around.
It's is?
Yeah. They used to have meetings in my house.
Yes,
like people would come up, and then my normal size friends would be like freaking out because there was this, kitchen full of giants.
And it's so funny that people would think that just because you're tall, I mean, we do have a lot in common, especially if you're tall and not athletic. There's a definite commonality. And I talk to other, like Carmen Lynch, who's really tall, and there is this sort of clubby thing about it because we go through life in, when you cannot hide, the first thing people see is not you. It's like, oh, here's a giant walking in the room. That's the first thing they're going to see. That's the first thing they're going to think. They're going to make all these assumptions about you because you're big, you're older. I mean, it really is. I have to send you this article I just read in the Times about this short person saying it's right now is the perfect time to be short and fucking dissing tall people. I want to kill the woman, but, and it was like, we don't live as long, we get sicker. Fuck you. Okay.
Right.
But you grew up with, your father unfortunately passed away when you were 2, which is just the beginning of the death knell of your life. But having like my mother was 5'9", and my father was like 6'3". So they were tall, but they weren't 6'8" like your father and 6 feet like your mother.
Right.
You are coming from people who understand what it's like to be other.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's all I heard. But, if you read the book, you also know, like, my mom wasn't that great at it. Like, she would try to, it was a different thing. I was being called a nerd, and I was being called, derogatory names I would never even use because they're not cool. Right. But I was called all that shit. And, and it wasn't even that much about my size. It was just about how I was the weird kid. And then I would come home and go, hey, kids called me weird and kids called me this. And she'd go, well, they called me Giraffe. And I was like,
Same.
I can't help you.
Right. It's funny because I didn't tell my parents. I tried to hide it because it was so humiliating. I mean, I did tell my mother in the beginning, and she was like, they're jealous, he's a pipsqueak and all this shit. And I'm like,
well, that's the supportive thing to say. That's the right. Your mom took the right track there. So
I kind of had this, fuck you. But I never said anything because it was every day. It was just fucking humiliating. And, I have to say, I don't know if you feel this, but when I am on the red carpet sometimes and they're like, you are, I have those feelings over and over again in my life in showbiz.
Oh, for sure. I avoid red carpets because of that. Yeah, I don't, exactly. Because I just don't even want to be and you are like, I don't even want to deal with it.
And it's like, and I want to say, look at me. Like,
yeah.
Your mother, Carol, daughter of George and Norma. And Norma, your great-grandmother was Irene. You're very German. Your great-grandmother had your mother at 15. What the fuck is that about?
Who knows? In California, but like in the turn of the century. It was a different.
San Francisco.
Yeah.
And then your dad, can I ask how he died?
Yeah. It's a rare blood disease that I still don't completely understand. But then really what happened was somebody put him in a coma by giving him the wrong medication at the hospital.
God.
So my mom was
28.
at the hospital. Yeah. But then the hospital gave us some money feeling badly, but we didn't sue or do anything like that.
Not Jewish. Here's my Jew bell. Not Jewish. So your dad was 25. You don't remember him, but you spent a lot of time with your grandparents.
Yeah, and then I was told stories. So it's really funny. I think I touched on this on the book, but I followed things that I heard my father liked. So I was like, in my teens, I knew he loved Lenny Bruce. So I sought out Lenny Bruce and all that. And it's a big part of why I am who I am. You know what I mean? Right. I found other stand-ups. I found 70s and 80s stand-ups on my own, but I would look to the things that he had liked for like the history of stand-up. And I think it was the thing he was circling. Like he was in drama club, and I think he would have tried stand-up if he had lived long enough. So for me, when I tried stand-up, it was a little bit of like kind of continuing what I thought my dad would do. Right.
And this sort of connection to him. I don't even know where to start. You moved to San Jose at 5. You didn't know anything. I mean, you had a mom and you just were like, oh, I don't have a dad. So it wasn't like this big event that happened where you were like, I'm without something. It was just all you knew. And that other people had dads and you didn't. And then you moved to San Jose at 5 and your mom had a boyfriend, Bill.
Yeah.
And Bill, you loved. He took you to the Harlem Globetrotters. He was like, he just adored you and you thought he was going to be your new dad, but
tall guy also.
Brian Posehn,
yeah.
And he was tall, right.
Let's not leave out. He was also 6'4".
Yeah, 6'4". Because you're Brian, he died in a car accident.
Yes. That's exactly why. It was my fault.
Right.
All the setup for me to tell dick jokes.
So you have this loss of your dad, which didn't, and then your mother, you go to an open casket, you see him, and you see a dead body at 5. Like, that's fucking mental.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad I put all that stuff in the book because I thought it was mental, and I was hoping that other people. Yeah.
Well, that's why I like the Jews. Like, we don't do that.
Good.
You bury the next day because you're supposed to remember them as they were when they were alive.
Right.
And there's no open anything.
No, the Catholics I'm not Catholic anymore, but that's what my mom was, and that's how we were all raised. But yeah, who knows? It's messed up.
So then, at the age of 6, this is so fascinating. At the age of 6, you go to therapy.
You're skipping the babysitter that committed suicide.
The babysitter, I have the babysitter. I'm sorry. The babysitter is right underneath.
The babysitter's before Bill, the mom's boyfriend. Okay. Yeah.
That's right. Okay. I had it in fucking shit. I'm sorry. I did have it above therapy at 6, and I had it above moving to San Jose. So you had the babysitter.
4.5 or 5 killed himself. Yeah.
Gary. So Gary babysat you, and he would put on you remember one time he put on your mother's clothes. He was cross-dressing while he was babysitting, and
I almost wish I didn't know that because that's part of why the kid killed himself, because of his parents in the way they treated people like that in the 60s. Right. Yeah, but it was also the way that was looked down upon. And I hate that I have any involvement in somebody going through that. Like,
So your mother told the parents, and then the parents confronted him, and then he killed himself.
Yes.
Okay, so
But that's all, like at the time, it just felt dark. I didn't know exactly why, because when you're 5, you don't really know what's really going on with the grownups. They don't give you all the details. So I didn't find out till later that's what had happened. But that's why we moved. And that's why I had a birthday party that no one showed up to, because I was the kid who just had the babysitter kill himself. So like every neighborhood mom.
Well,
You know,
at least there was a reason. I would have no one coming to shit just because, I'm tall and I have old parents. Like, I don't even know.
Right.
I was like, what the fuck is wrong? I'm like, so fun. What is your fucking problem?
Right.
So then you moved to San Jose, then the boyfriend, Bill. And is your mother still involved with the tall club at this point?
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, that's where she met Bill. So she went back to the tall club, met Bill. And then they were also really involved because she was single and raising a kid on her own. So these people, her friends were just good people. So they were around all the time. So
you were surrounded by tall people.
And beautiful.
Right.
Like my mom's friends were hot and 6 feet tall. Like she had one friend named Anne who had hair down her back like Cher, but she was a tall lady.
Right.
And beautiful.
And did you jerk off to these people?
Not to their face.
Right. But it's just so funny.
Well, Anne was one of my first crushes, my mom's friend. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Which is why I don't understand you ended up with someone 5'3", but we'll get to that later.
Well, you and my mom, like
I mean, my mother was like that too. First of all, it was so funny because as a gay, and I knew I was gay, when I was like 3, I was like, something's different about me. Like, you don't know what it is till you're an adolescent. But like, I was like, why am I not like all these other people? And then it became this thing where when I was, in my late teens and my 20s, and people were like, why isn't Judith dating? And it was all my cousins' mother-in-law asked why I wasn't married. And my cousin literally said to her, well, because she's really tall and it's hard to find someone tall enough for her. And the mother-in-law was like, oh, that makes sense. I was like, what the fuck kind of question is that? Tell them I'm a big fucking dyke, okay?
Right.
Okay, so Bill drops dead, dies in a car accident. Do you remember how your mother told you?
No, not exactly. But I also don't want to throw my mom under the bus. But my mom went through some stuff, and I've been in therapy most of my life.
Right.
And my therapist says that my mom was, a juvenile, basically. And my mom was too young mentally to raise a kid. And, some of the things she did. Yeah. Right. But she
make mistakes.
She saw things as a competition, and she was a great lady in a lot of ways, but then some ways that kind of effed me up, And so one of the things she said to me was that Bill liked you more than he liked me. Like he really wanted to be a dad, and he wanted to be a dad of a tall kid, and he identified with this little guy that was going through stuff, and it sucks, but
which is always that's a great thing to say, and it's a good thing you let it roll off your back and forget about it.
Well, I can't still be mad. We put her in the ground a couple of years ago, and I can't still be like you.
Right. I know you do get to a point where you forgive, and you're like, okay, because you also once you become a parent, you're like, oh.
Yeah, you just try not to say terrible things that my mom said.
I'm gonna do the opposite. Yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
So you have the dad, you have Gary, the babysitter, and then Bill. And all dead, and then you go to therapy with Leonard.
Yes.
At 6, and he was British. And you went because you were acting out and being sort of bullyish.
Yeah.
So you went to play therapy, where they sit on the floor, which is interesting because I'm sure Henry's going to hate that this is my Jew bell, by the way, anything Jewish. So Henry, my older son, after we divorced or separated, we weren't allowed to get married. So whatever you want to call it, we sent him to a therapist, and he he was like 8, and he got on the floor with him, and he was playing, and then after the session, the therapist called me in. The therapist was Jewish. And he said, your son, I got on the floor to play with him, and your son said, you don't need to play with me to get me to talk. So I know why I'm here. And I was like, oh, he's pretty fucking smart.
That's amazing.
Isn't that unbelievable? He's like, you don't have to like warm it up here. So did you like Leonard?
I did. Yeah, I thought he was my friend.
Right.
And, I thought it was weird that my friends didn't have old British gentlemen that they played on the floor with, Right. I thought everybody had that. So,
and he was
I didn't think anything was weird about it. Yeah.
Yeah. How long did you have therapy with Leonard?
So that would have been when we were in San Jose. So from 5 to 8, and then we moved to Sonoma, and then I got one pretty soon after, not right away, but we went to family therapy. And then through high school and junior high, I had a guy named Hank, who, a New Yorker, Jewish guy, you would have loved him.
Oh.
Handsome, curly hair, great guy. He wore Birkenstocks and was,
I can see him in my head.
Yeah, just a good guy. He just wanted to help. He was just Hank, the good guy. He just wanted to make my family life better. And he was genuinely became my friend. Like when I was going through things in school, like he would buy me tapes, like out of his own money, like, cause I was into AC/DC, and he would, just kind of to encourage me and show me that other people were, cared. Right.
I love that. So did you tell anyone you were in therapy as a child or in junior high or high school? You never, because I was the same way. I mean, I didn't go till I was 18, but you didn't tell people. Like
I didn't know what to tell people. Like when I would tell people things, it would come off like bragging. So that's why half of the reason I got picked on when I was a new kid was that I think they thought I was a braggart, and I wasn't a rich kid, but like I would brag about things I got for Christmas just because I was trying to identify. I was trying to meet other kids and go, hey, I got this toy. What toy did you get? Right. And the first thing I told new kids was that I had won the reading contest at the Sonoma Library over the summer. And I thought that was...
That's a real feather in your cap when it comes to children.
Yeah. I got free ice cream because I read the most books of anybody in town. And no one thought that was cool.
That is crazy. Okay. So you go to Sonoma. I mean, I don't even know... listening to your book, I was just like, we would have hung out. You would have been my only fucking friend. You go to Sonoma, goes back to school at some point, and takes you with her to San Jose.
That was in San Jose, yeah. So that she went to San Jose State while we were living there.
Okay,
and,
so how long? So she takes you to San Jose. You're like 5, whatever. She's studying psychology, and she takes you. Welcome to New York, everyone.
Oh, I love it.
Fucking shut the fuck up. And she takes you to her classes. You're in the quad. You're just alone, and it was very free to be you and me. So I guess she didn't worry about you. Like,
no one was going to steal a kid from the quad in the 70s. Well, they might have, but she didn't think that was a concern.
And she started taking you to sober living.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
What the fuck?
I don't know. Well,
she couldn't.
The babysitter thing is what I bring up in the book is like maybe babysitters. She was a little gun shy after the first one, and then not having friends that maybe could take care of me in San Jose because we didn't. Our family was still an hour away. Our family was still in Redwood City and closer to San Francisco. So we had gone down south there. And so she didn't have like a bunch of friends. She had a couple, and then there was a lady in the apartment building that would look after me sometimes. You know? God,
she must have been so paranoid about the babysitters. In third grade, you get glasses, which is it's always good to be gigantic and then have something else to make you. So you get glasses, which today, I mean, no one gives a shit. Glasses are cool, but it was torture.
Yeah, your 4 eyes right away.
Right.
At least I already knew these kids. Right. So my friends were kind of cool about me having glasses. But when I moved to the new town a year and a half later, I was tall. I had glasses. I was weird, so I had several strikes against me and new. Right.
I was lucky that I went to school. I think that I went to, because listening to you talk, starting a new school, you work for years to be like, I'm normal. I'm just, I know I look different, but, I'm fine. I'm actually really funny and you're a fucking asshole. And then you get put into this place where no one knows. And it's like, you can't hide. It's again, without hiding. It's like this, you got to start owning yourself at some point, but it's such fucking torture. So you go to this new school. You loved the library and you had glasses and you were really tall. So that is the perfect formula to be, the most popular. You love books. You love your sixth grade teacher, Mr. Cox. I love that you say, and it's just amazing how one teacher can fucking change your life. You had this one guy in sixth grade, and you had been diagnosed with hyperactivity when you were 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did, I had definite hyperactivity, but no one diagnosed it. How did they go about that?
Well, because at the San Jose school, they were, I don't know, maybe they had more resources and were really test heavy, but that's where I was diagnosed, was before I moved to Sonoma. And then because we were having trouble, first grade, second grade, third grade, I didn't get along with any of those teachers. And I remember
you had two first grade teachers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I got kicked out of a first grade class for messing around with other kids while they were trying to take a nap.
I love that story. I love that. Trying to play Duck, Duck, Goose while they were trying to take a nap.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. Yeah.
And then your third grade teacher sat on you.
Yes.
Apparently. Which would probably get her fired at this point.
There were a lot of things. My wife can't believe the fifth grade teacher. The fifth grade teacher would kiss us if we got in trouble.
On the
there's
lips?
no, all over. She would put lipstick on and make a big show about it. She'd put big red, lipstick and cartoony lipstick and then put it on your face. And then you had to leave it on. So everybody knew that Miss Sullivan kissed you.
Where is Miss Sullivan now? Have you looked her
She
up?
passed away, but she was actually a good teacher outside of that weird thing.
So Mr. Cox, his name is Richard Cox, Dick Cox, and no one makes fun of him because he's such a good fucking teacher.
Because he was the cool guy. He was the cool guy teacher, and no one even thought of it. No kid hated that guy. When I was in 4th, all the 6th graders loved Mr. Cox, and you just knew he was the cool guy at the school. And then when I got him as my teacher, I fell in love with the dude because he actually listened to me, and I got to pick the book we read that year. We read Star Wars, the adaptation,
right?
Which couldn't have been better for a little nerdy kid.
And you started loving films. You became obsessed with films because of Star Wars.
Well, even before, Jaws was the first one.
Jaws was first, and then you loved Star Wars. So you're into film, you're into books. I was a music nerd, and you hated gym class, which I fucking hated. I can't. Did you have a gym uniform? Did you have to wear a fucking gym uniform?
And they'd make us do showers in junior high and high school.
Oh, I hated that. Okay, first of all, Here's a story.
At girls' school, at girls' classes, it doesn't become a penis measuring contest when you're in 8th grade, and that's a little.
Yeah, but
well, I'm sure they're judging other things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know if you had this, but they used to, measure us for the gym uniform in the fucking gym in front of everyone. Like they'd call you down and say, Judith, first of all, it was Judith, by the way, Judith Gold. And then I would get off the bleachers and it would just all started. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Orca, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Bigfoot. And it was like 20, it was constant. It was every fucking day. I couldn't walk down the fucking hallway. And then they would measure you the ugliest gym uniforms. And it's, I tried out for the fucking basketball team in 7th grade, and the guy told me I was too tall, and it wouldn't be fair to the other players.
Oh my God!
And you're uncoordinated, that's what he said to me. So, yeah, I just feel for you. So, and you said you got called names, but loser was the one that hurt you the most. So you're a lot like Donald Trump.
God damn you. No.
Turtle.
Yeah.
It was when you had said something in your special, I think it was a Conan appearance, and you talked about Sasquatch, that you called yourself Sasquatch. And I have to tell you, to this day, when I hear Sasquatch or Bigfoot, it's still pink. It's like, even if they're not even saying it about me, you know what I mean?
Well, that was the weird thing. Turtle doesn't sound like the most hurtful name you can be called. And, like when that show Entourage was on, they had a kid named Turtle. And I was like, God, I wish I could have picked my name, when somebody else calls you that, it's not as fun. And then, and I was called that like day one, because I came to school and was nervous, and I had this big green jacket and I was hiding in the jacket. And so just my head was poking up. Of course I looked like a turtle. Right. The guy was not a genius for coming up with that name for me by any stretch.
I have a question. I don't know. Have you watched any of the fucking bullshit going on in Congress? The votes?
Yeah.
Okay. I hate George Santos. I think he's a fucking piece of shit. But him sitting there alone in the last row with no friends, even though I hate him and he deserves no one to talk to him, I was like, oh my God, I know exactly how he feels.
Right.
This week's episode of It's Judy Show with Judy Gold is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you know me, which I think you do because you're listening to my podcast right now, you know that I am a big advocate for therapy. I think it benefits everyone. I think there's so many people who need it, who don't partake. It is so important for your emotional health and well-being. Therapy is fantastic. It is in every stretch of the imagination. And if you're thinking of starting therapy, please do it. But please give BetterHelp a try. It is entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It suits your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. I have switched therapists in my life. I've had many, many therapists, and sometimes it's not a great fit for you, but don't give up. Therapy is beneficial. You can learn about yourself, you can process, and just be emotionally healthy. I'm telling you, do it. BetterHelp is great because, when I used to schlep to my therapist's office, it was so annoying. You have to do it, and you sit there and you wait, and then I'm telling you, doing it online is fantastic. And BetterHelp is amazing. I know a lot of people who've used it. So if you're thinking about therapy, go to BetterHelp.com. Let the gratitude flow. This is Gratitude Month, people. So you need to let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/JudyGold, JudyGold, today, and you will get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/JudyGold. You're welcome. High school, fucking bullshit. Your friends turn on you. I loved your talking about school dances. I would just stand there too.
That freshman thing, I forget about it till you brought it up, but that was not fun. So for the listeners, they treated it was first week of school, freshman year, and all my freshman friends realized how much I was getting picked on by the older kids. And so it probably wouldn't be good for them socially to be with me. So they chased me away like you would a dog or something. And I got rocks thrown at me by kids that had been my friends.
Right. It's so you never trust people after that. I just feel like I want to hug you because it's just like I know exactly what you feel like.
Yeah, and those guys are still my friends. And then ask for tickets when I'm in Sacramento at the Punchline, you know, and it's hard for me to not go, you fuckers, like, you know. But I don't hold grudges. But
do you I know this is, I don't even want to admit this, but I still sometimes have dreams about them, these people who tortured me. But whenever I bump into them or they come to a show or anything, they're like, do you remember me? And I'm like, oh my God, you look really familiar. And I just act like I have no idea who the fuck they are, but I know every fucking mean thing they did to me.
Yes.
So you signed your own yearbook. That is really pathetic.
Thank you.
I mean, that's something I did have a few music nerds. The good thing about being in the nerdy music department was there was always someone like as nerdy or nerdier than you. So I did have a few that no one would talk to. And so
it wasn't the same in the drama department. In the drama department, they were all doing it. And
I know.
I was like the least cool kid by a lot.
Yeah. It's funny that you don't like being touched. I guess that sort of, it's hard. I agree. It's hard to be intimate with people when you don't trust anyone because you don't know if they're going to turn on you.
Yeah, it's different reasons for guys and girls, but yeah, it was a thing. I mean, well, guys would do this thing where they touch you, but they touch you in a way that makes you know that they could kick your ass.
Yeah.
And I hate having a guy put his hand on my shoulder still as an adult. Like,
right.
I immediately think the guy is trying to, make me feel worse or whatever. But who knows if that's actually anybody's with their body language. But that's the way I always see that. And then the other thing, I had girls trick me and pretend to like me just to laugh at me over the phone.
I had this happen. I mean, I had, people come over to me. I remember I was at someone's bat mitzvah and my mother had to make all my clothes. I couldn't find clothes. And there was a bat mitzvah and everyone wore long gowns. Did you ever go to any bar bat mitzvahs when you were a kid?
No. A lot of friends now, but not growing up. I don't know that I had a Jewish friend in high school.
Wow. And then you get into showbiz.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm in, we go to this bar and they have these big parties. My parents were like, you're not having a big party. We're not doing anything big. It's not about the party. I'm like, everyone already hates me. Everyone fucking hates me already. And now I can't even have a party. Anyway, so I go to this bat mitzvah and it's like a big, they have these big fucking shindigs. Right. And everyone is wearing a long gown. And I am wearing this jumper that my mother made me that is not long. And we get there and the entire group of kids is like, Judith, I love your dress. Where'd you get it? And I was like, oh, thanks. My mother made it. And then another bunch of kids would come over. Judith, your dress. And I realized, oh, okay. So this is really fucking funny. And it was just, it was like I couldn't fucking catch a break. You know what I mean? I couldn't. I was like, oh my God, I just don't want to be noticed. I don't want to be noticed.
Like you were saying about my glasses, then I had to get braces. So I know how you feel.
I never had the braces. Woo! That's great.
I had to wear headgear to school.
Oh my God. You win. You win.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like they doubled down. Like they were, what else can we do to make you, thank God I didn't have trouble with my legs or something and have to wear braces or anything anything else.
That reminds me of the fact that I was a size 12 shoe when I was 12 and there were no shoes in size 12. So I had to wear like ugly orthopedic looking shoes and it was really great. It was just really great.
I'm so sorry.
So you had a paper route and you saw multiple auto accidents and people die. Let's hear about that, Bri.
That was such a weird time, but like looking back on it, it all makes sense. So just the way Sonoma was set up in Glen Ellen, the even smaller town that I lived in, which was
next. And they have wine, Glen Ellen.
Yeah, but also just old roads.
Right.
Old, windy, narrow roads. So, and it rains a lot and it's super foggy. So there were all these other factors that were leading to why people got in so many car accidents. But as a kid who had just seen The Omen, I thought I was the son of Satan that was living in an apartment complex somehow. I wasn't with a senator like I should have been grooming me, to take over the world. But instead I was in a shitty apartment in Glen Ellen and then people were being sacrificed for me somehow. I don't know what I thought, but I did try to figure out why I'm seeing so many car accidents on my paper route. It's amazing. And you described. I saw a guy lose his head. I saw a guy get smashed by a cord of wood. Like he smashed it. His car went flying through the air and then he had wood in the back. It was a Subaru and I'll remember it forever. Like I'm standing there with adults trying to figure out what to do. And I'm 12 or whatever, just going, how can I be helpful? It's just unbelievable.
Thank you so much for listening to part 1 of my interview with the one and only, the hilarious Brian Posehn. Kill Me Now is produced by Laura Vogel, edited by Colin Schmaling, and this podcast, everything else that is done for this, my life in this podcast it only gets done because of Brittany Joe Sowards Richmond. If you like the show, well, if you're listening now, apparently you like the show. So subscribe, leave a review. It helps more people find the amazing podcast. It is an amazing one, 5 stars only. My book, yes, I can say that, available everywhere you can get books. The audiobook is great. And the book is coming to life as, I don't know what that noise is. So, I live in New York City, so deal with it. But the book is coming to life as a off-Broadway show, directed by B.D. Wong, written by me and my friend Eddie Sarfati. Yes, I can say that. We'll be at 59 East 59 theaters, and previews begin March 4th, runs till April 16th. You can get all that info at my website or on my... What is that? Or on my socials, which is at Judy Gold, JEWDYGOLD, because I'm a Jew, and I don't know what that fucking noise is, okay? It sounds like they're plowing snow, but we haven't had snow at all, period. Okay. So, if you're in the New Jersey area, come to the Avenel Performing Arts Center this Friday at 8 p.m. I will be there with my friend John Fish, who is fucking hilarious. And it's going to be a great goddamn show. Tickets everywhere you follow me. Also, if you're still listening, and I love you more than anything, as you know, I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. I want to say that I'm looking up. Here we go. Oh, Ben, my little baby, just wanted to shout out that he had 34 points, a career high. On Friday evening, this past Friday evening, I think it's the 27th. It was January 27th, 34 points and 8 rebounds, and they lost by 5. But whatever, I'm so proud of him. Okay, obviously the world is coming to an end, so I don't know what that fucking noise is, okay? let's see who listens to the end. Shall I? Okay, I want to say thank you to Christy in Alberta, Canada, because she listens to the end, and she's a fighter, not a lover. So we kind of have a lot of similarities. I mean, I'm a lover and a fighter. You know, I'm a lover and a fighter. Like right now, I want to go out there and go, what the fuck are you doing, you fucking assholes? It's like all I hear are ambulances and weird shit noises. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be really calm. Like, what is that? It's like an iceberg coming off and like falling into the... I can't. Okay. So, oh God, it's driving me crazy. So that's my kill me now moment from the beginning and from the end. So thank you to her. And also, who else to listen? Oh, now it just stopped. Did you hear that? Now it just stopped. It'll start again. Or someone, you know, will be in an ambulance and will go right by. I can't. So that's that. I also, yeah, I really want you to come to my show. Yes, I can say that. I want you to come to my show in Avenel. And I just, you know, I want Donald Trump to be indicted. I can't take any more fucking stress about this, you know, and I can't believe fucking George Santos is still there. And he's going to have free healthcare and a pension if he stays there for 2 years. This country is fucked up. But it's a good thing I can still say that and not get arrested. So there you go. And that's what my show's about. But anyway, I want to thank you all so much for listening to Kill Me Now. I love you all. I can't believe you're still on this podcast listening. I'm going to go, Eddie, my writing partner, brought over some vegetable lasagna. I'm going to go have that for lunch now. Yummy. So thank you all so much. I love you. And as we always say, so long.